Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the SPL. Adonis joined by Brandon here. For the North American sets, it's going to be the recently acquired Envy, who picked up the top of North America, AFK, facing off against Team Solo Mid, who is back, to the most part, to the original roster, sans EnVyUs.
Now, what's so crazy about this to me is Envy finally decides, all right, we got to get into Smite. And they're like, we want those guys. They're the best, right? Yeah, we want those guys.
I mean that's basically how it went. I mean they picked up a powerhouse team who's only dropped 2 games. They're currently 18-2, and they're matching up against a Team Solo Mid who has been struggling recently. And this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup.
So let's take a look at the Envy roster. You guys will be familiar with them as they were formerly AFK. They're the top of the North American standings, and these guys are as close to untouchable as one team can get, right? At least in the North American side. Allied, Incon, Kiki, Weekend, and the legendary, well, now legendary, CycloneSpin going to be fighting into Team Solo Mid today.
You know, CycloneSpin debatably one of the best players in the world. I mean, really, it's kind of a matchup between him and Adapting.
Right, it's him or Adapting at this
point. That's something we'll see most likely at Worlds if both of these teams can, keep their seeding going into there and, realistically meet expectations. But this Envy roster, it's so incredibly strong. I mean, they're leading all the statistics. I mean, they have the most kills, the most assists in almost all their roles outside of, I believe, Kiki doesn't have as many assists as Chaos from Enemy, and that's because Chaos plays a lot of Nuwa. That's true. Basically it. An Enemy goes super late game with every team. I mean,
the AFK roster has been almost unstoppable. They're going to be going up against TSM today, who have had a few roster changes. Now, EnVyUs leaving the team, Boosh coming back to the team, EnVyUs replaced by bchm. And I think, aside from the fact that this is also the #1 team in North America, it's going to be hard for TSM to fight specifically into Envy because bchm is going to be, I would say, the caveat to the win. Right, especially considering the fact that since not only is he new to this role and new to this roster, but he's going up against the highest-rated solo laner worldwide.
And against a jungler who prioritizes putting pressure on that soul lane. I mean, Weekend's job, I mean, it's kind of changed a little bit. Weekend has a very deep god pool and plays a variety of gods, but, I mean, he camps soul lane quite often, especially against weaker soul laners. And bchm, he's going to be the priority, I think, for this team. And not necessarily shutting bchm down, but simply getting Cyclone ahead. Even if it's not getting kills, at least getting that lane pressure and allowing CycloneSpin to really roam the map. We're going to take a quick look at the standings, though, before we get into the match. And it is Envy sitting on top at 18-2. Team Eager right behind them, 16-4, and then followed by Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid.
You know, you got to hand it to Cloud9, too. They had a lot of issues, a lot of maybe undeserved losses, and they're still sitting 3rd ranked North America. If there is any reason to be a fan of Cloud9, their 3rd place seeding right now is probably the top of that list.
Considering they were, on the verge of 6th, 7th at the, coming into the mid-split invitational, the COG invitational, and then since then they actually won that invitational and have taken that rise to really become a top team in North America again. It's no surprise here. But, Team Solo Mid at 10-10, this is not the TSM that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
The last time these teams faced off was actually back in Week 3 of the Pro League, and that was when the roster first changed. That was when Boosh quit, we saw Eonic move to Hunter, Snoopy move to mid, and Jigs come in as support. So it was a very one-sided affair. That was kind of the match they wanted to go into, something that they didn't think they were likely to win even at their full roster, so it's something they wanted to try. But there was just, the success wasn't there after that. So this is really the first time we're going to see Team Solo Mid face Envy this split.
You guys had your predictions yesterday. I did a small thing on my stream this morning as well. I'm expecting that AFK is going to have a pretty, maybe not easy run here, but they should be 2 clean victories, right?
I expect so.
If Envy is going to show that they are the top-ranked North American team, they shouldn't be dropping games here to a team with a new roster.
I was watching Weekend's stream yesterday, and a lot of what he said about teams like Cloud9 and Team Solo Mid, and more so why Envy has become the best in North America is because they've adapted so well and not been really stuck in a certain playstyle or a certain meta. They've grown. They've actually are repeatedly creating the meta. I mean, you take a look at Weekend, he actually played Kumba jungle, and I was so surprised at that. And everyone, I went back and watched it, in Twitch, and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's Kumba jungle, all right? Okay, because they all watch Weekend stream. But I mean, Weekend will literally play anything in the jungle.
Anything.
And he plays so many different roles as well. One of the biggest, weaknesses a lot of analysts thought heading into the end of the summer and the beginning of the fall split was that, Weekend can only play Odin. He can only play these tanky junglers. junglers,
Right.
but he started off the fall split with like a 6-0 run on Serqet. I mean,
Yeah.
Weekend has become one of, if not the best jungler in North America. Debatable, you know, like he's up there with Andy now. He
Ooh.
has improved that much.
Well, we're going to be jumping into the game. We got EnVy making their debut under their new banner, going up against Team Solo Mid. Cyclone versus bchm is the big story here. Let's see what TSM decides to do for their solo laner, trying to get him ahead early.
A Thor pick here is probably going to be incredibly high priority for both teams because not only does Weekend and DaGarz love this, excuse me, not only do they love this god, but CycloneSpin also plays it on AFK. It's a god that, you know, AFK, or excuse me, not AFK, EnVy. I'm already getting it mixed up.
Who's
I told myself before this game started, like, do not say it.
Who's AFK?
I'm AFK.
Never
apparently.
heard of him. You're AFK.
I am AFK.
Neither of us are K'd right now. We have no keyboards.
Okay. But Thor likely to be a pretty heavily prioritized pick here, either in the bans or the first stage of the draft.
See, I would like to see TSM grab Thor if Team EnVyUs gives it away. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that DaGarz can't help bchm. DaGarz needs to be rotating around, killing that duo lane, and shutting Allied and Incon down as much as possible. If he tries to play the weekend game and camp the solo lane, Cyclone is going to bait repeatedly. It 100% has to come down for the duo lane for TSM.
Gonna see Serqet first picked.
Whoa.
That's going to Weekend, and we haven't seen this god for quite some time. It's actually been banned away from him for most of the second half of the split, and
Rightfully.
it's rightfully banned. And now we're actually gonna be seeing him on it. It's a pretty high pressure jungler, mostly in the mid game, but Weekend has made use of it with not only invades but early first bloods in the soul lane.
So
that is
Sobek and Athena.
I mean, this is kind of like that Guardian meta we saw come out from Eager in the summer split, but it's kind of tapered off into the different healing meta. I think this is more safety pick for bchm than anything.
And it's strange because Sobek is not generally anymore seen as a character that will be used in the solo lane as such a high priority pick, you know, with healers being so relevant. Granted, he does have some anti-healing properties, which is important, but this seems like a comfort pick that might come back to haunt them.
So for me, what can happen, which I think just happened, is that CycloneSpin doesn't even have to wait to counterpick. He can perfectly pick what god he wants to pick into Sobek early on, and that actually allows the counterpick for Kiki and Allied. It opens up EnVy's draft even more so than normal. Typically, they're waiting to pick a god for Cyclone until the second phase of the draft. They don't have to worry about this. They know the matchup. It's going to be Nemesis versus Sobek in that soul lane, and I mean, we saw how good Cyclone's Nemesis was last week.
So Nemesis will do a few things here. One, Divine Judgment will make sure that he can rip the protections off of Sobek, which means Serqet's going to blow through him with her passive. On top of the fact that since he has that shield, it's going to make it very, very hard to gank this character as well. Thor, Athena, Sobek on that rushdown is a very, very contentious solo lane. And given the fact that Nemesis has great dash, a turnaround slow, another slow and movement speed and armor increase with Divine Judgment, and the fact that he can heal himself by taking damage, right? This is one of the best picks that you're going to see today.
A slight buff actually coming to Nemesis in this latest patch coming on Tuesdays. Well, it's small, but a 2-second cooldown.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So the shield's actually on a 16-second cooldown instead of an 18-second one now, and it's not big.
Remember when it was 12
seconds?
Helps. Remember that?
No, don't remind me.
What a day.
That was so broken.
What a day.
Bans coming out. It's going to be Rom banned away from Snoopy and Aphrodite banned away from Kiki. These are completely targeted bans. I love them because we saw really what AFK, or I did it again.
Who's AFK?
I'm AFK. What EnVy likes to do with their Aphrodite mids, especially when they have a god that can not only peel for themselves, but also has a lot of mobility, and Serqet and Nemesis. Kiki on that Aphrodite just makes them that much more powerful.
Aphrodite Nemesis is one of the scariest things in the game because Nemesis'
like
only major weakness is that she cannot stick to people. It's almost impossible, but movement speed increases and healing and all that other good stuff will allow Nemesis to stay there. So we're going to get Hades for the mid lane, and Allied is going to take Apollo. Freya, still available, and that's kind of like his, I would say, his go-to.
It really hasn't been, though. I mean, at the beginning of the fall split, I would say so. We actually saw a lot of Freya bans come out, and it's something Allied likes to play. But even at the COG Invitational, he said, I don't necessarily know why people are wasting bans on Freya. He thinks his Freya is strong, but not so far ahead of his other hunters that teams should waste a ban on it. And since then, we haven't really seen it banned or picked up by him. And, he actually gets the counterpick against a Thor. Thor really likes to put a lot of pressure across lanes, and it's incredibly hard to gank an Apollo with Thor. Mez not only going to give you physical protections, but also able to, immune or excuse me, stop Berserker's Barrage in its place.
So the final pick will be Poseidon as we get into the game here. I love this pick. I think Poseidon is the only character in the game that can go even with Hades in lane.
It's also incredibly strong against a Serqet. I mean, Cripple is so powerful against Serqet, who 2 of her abilities can be completely shut down.
Hey, why aren't
if
there
you
clan
cripple
tags
them.
AFK? Kevin, why don't you tell us about that?
Recently AFK was picked up by Envy. It's something I'm still coming to terms with a little bit here, but we're gonna make it through the game. I promise. I promise.
That's a promise. You're gonna make it through the whole game.
I promise.
All right, guys. If you hear
not
that,
gonna happen again.
If Adonis messes that up, Adonis says he's giving gems out. You heard
Wait,
that?
No, don't tell.
You just said it.
I'm gonna get what's gonna happen is they're gonna be like, all right, you're forced to give gems out. It's coming out of your paycheck too. There's gonna be
we get paid in
$8,000 worth of gems. I know. Got like 2,000 or 200,000. Excuse me.
Oh man! All right, game starting here. Minions have spawned 0-0. Team Envy making their debut here against Team Solo Mid.
A lot of wards coming out early. We saw Envy and what they did when they can get early kills off an invade. I mean, it's just so snowbally for them.
Last week, Cyclone and Weaken walk into the speed buff against Elevate and get first blood. And then in second game, they walk into the speed buff against Elevate and get first blood. And I couldn't even believe that happened twice. But you'll notice that TSM is not going to allow any license for that nonsense as 3 wards come out for full jungle control. You actually only need 2 wards to block the entire entry, but they want to put them super deep to see the eventual invade coming. Now, on the right side, Weaken was, I think, taking a gander there, seeing if he can go for the steal. But it looks like Kiki and Weaken should have that left side. Allies taking some damage. Geb's shield, going to keep things safe.
Real early fight. Kiki's going to dash in, and Boosh already under half, but it looks like they're just going to force Team Solo Mid off these mids, and with Kiki having such a powerful heal in his kit, he's going to keep them sustained. Any trades early on are going to be in favor of Weaken and Kiki against TheBoosh and DaGarz, just because of those self-heals. Otherwise, Garz is going to have to expend a lot of potions.
I like Eonic getting aggressive in the wave. He's kind of making up for the fact that Xbalanque doesn't have the best wave clear by utilizing his pressure with Shield Wall. So that was really smart. They start pushing Allied and Incon back to just try to control the lane as much as possible. That way, Geb has a harder time coming online.
Weaken gonna find not both of the Cobra's Kiss, just one. Both connected. We actually probably could have seen Envy go into there, but for now it's just gonna be a small amount of poke. And Snoopy, Eonic should have control of this lane for the most part. Geb and Apollo not necessarily known for their strong early push, but this is what we see a lot from Envy is Allied doesn't like to take a lot of kills. He doesn't like to take a lot of risk. He plays it pretty safe in lane, and what happens is he just comes into these late game scenarios as a super farmed hunter, critting for 500, 600, 700 sometimes, and has fantastic positioning. Probably one of the best in North America. Doesn't get caught a lot. Has one of the fewest deaths, and just makes big plays in teams fights.
So let's take a look at the solo lane here as we're going to check in with bchm and CycloneSpin. Now, so far, it seems like Cyclone has controlled the lane in terms of push. Damage so far has gone slightly to bchm. And you'll notice that Cyclone has gone Bluestone Pendant. Now, I think this is one of the reasons that we're starting to see Nemesis come back. She can apply the Bluestone Pendant very quickly and very easily to the entire wave. But I like what bchm is doing. You'll notice that he's freezing the wave towards the tower line. That way, Cyclone can't use the Swift Vengeance dash to get past those archers. He's keeping them at the tower line.
And you can actually see bchm itemized very early into a Vanguard, which, while typically not strong against Nemesis, who doesn't have a lot of dots or a lot of tick damage, it's incredibly powerful against a Bluestone, because you're not getting the full tick of Bluestone in the first hit.
I mean,
when
usually
Nemesis uses an ability, it applies a dot. And what Vanguard is doing is reducing 5 raw damage, which is soaking up most of Bluestone's proc.
Close to it. Usually it's hitting anywhere from 11 to 13 on most players. In this situation, just with the passive defenses, it's getting closer to 10, and then it's cutting 5 off that. So Bluestone, instead of doing, close to 25 damage, is only doing 10.
We can see Envy Weaken already over here in the soul lane, and this is what we expected coming out from Weaken. And really the game plan for Envy as a whole is shut down bchm. I mean, even if it's not getting kills, it's forcing him out and allowing CycloneSpin to get ahead in XP and gold and roam. Nothing came from it there, but you can see the attempt, and I think if bchm ever crosses that midway line in that lane, that invisible do not cross line, we'll see Weaken right there ready to force him down.
Purple buff respawns, getting taken first on the bottom side. Right side camp's about to be respawning as well. You'll see Weaken already situated himself for the guarantee, but he jumps back into mid lane, so that way he can go right back to them. The wave is pushed. Now, EnVy's in a good spot to ensure they get both mid camps here, which would be a really big play at this stage of the game.
And they've already actually gained a small lead, only 300, but continuously shutting down Thor, who's really about this early game aggression heading into the mid game. If DaGarz can't do what Thor's good at, it puts TSM in a bad spot. A lot of it's going to be really comboing at these mid camp fights. I mean, they have the Thor dunk into the Poseidon Kraken, or the taunt into Poseidon Kraken, and so far it seems that Team Solo Mid, they've been pushed back and forced to play at EnVy's pace.
Both speed buffs available, both red buffs available as the mid camps go down in favor of EnVy. You'll notice no kills so far in almost 5 minutes. About a 300 to 400 gold advantage right now for EnVy. TSM not having the best farm, losing a lot of mid camp fights so far, but otherwise it doesn't seem like either team has a major advantage. You got to be wary of that Kraken, and I think that's why we're seeing EnVy play so passively this game.
I love this standoff. So what's happening is Eonic, you can actually see the slight glow around him. He has his dash charged up, and what he wants to do is dash forward, taunt someone, because Weaken is the only one with bead. So he's looking for Incon or maybe Kiki, and then just a full combo into that Poseidon Kraken. However, Incon's ready and waiting for that shield. I mean, the Geb shield, it's going to be able to cleanse the taunt, and likely Team Tournament would be wasting the Kraken. So you can see they're just looking. Both teams are looking for someone to make just the slightest mistake so they can go in and lock down First Blood.
You'll notice the rotation here from DaGarz. He's coming in, so we might have a fight here. It's unlikely. Cyclone probably not in a position where he wants to commit to a fight yet, not without his core items. You see the Warrior Tabby already has been bought from Nemesis. What do you think she's going to go into here? Is this going to be attack speed?
We've seen Yoan's Wrath come out from CycloneSpin traditionally in that first slot or immediately after boots. He likes the cooldown reduction, and he likes having the early pressure because, if you go the attack speed build on Nemesis, it takes a little bit longer to come online. And EnVy really like to put pressure in that mid game. So, putting CycloneSpin on more of a farm character doesn't work to their play style.
So we got the Transcendence finished up. Snoopy just backing now. Allied already with about 14 stacks on the Dev's Glove, so a small advantage right now. But remember, Dev's Glove's requiring, I think, 25 more stacks?
Yes, just about.
So it's a pretty hefty run, so he'll gain 6 more there. Actually, no, he did not get all of those. But either way, Allied in a slightly better position overall. Has about, I don't know, 100 gold more to his name at this point, although Snoopy is starting to catch up to that with that final wave.
You can see EnVy making sure, or Kiki making sure he doesn't get out of position against this combo. I mean, Team Solo Mid, a lot of their team fights going to come down to instant burst potential, not only with their globals, but with the Kraken. You can really see the global lane from TSM, Snoopy, Darkest of Nights. While it doesn't do any damage, it's going to really impede the vision and slow down EnVy's pace in these team fights. It's basically, all right, everyone has to stop because you can't see, and your vision gets so limited. It's just so hard to fight while that, ability is going off.
You see that lane ward here. I mean, I love this. I don't think we could talk about that lane ward enough. Just being able to spot the rotations through mid lane, gorgeous. DaGarz tries to make a standoff there, doesn't even throw Mjolnirs for the attempt. Another mid-camp fight going the way of Team EnVy.
Team Solo Mid, looks like they wanted to lock down Incon, and there's that Darkest Night we were talking about, and it's going to be Weaken. Oh, that was a mechanical misplay you typically don't see coming out of the boosh. I guess he was trying to time it with Weaken stopping, but now it's EnVy on the retake.
Oh, Eonic's in a lot of trouble too. Oh, but Kiki winds up going down. DaGarz getting another Cyclone, trading it out 2 for 2. First blood going to EnVy as bchm finally rotates here. Allied's in a bad spot, and you'll notice him walking through the creeps. bchm sees that he's not going to catch him, tries to turn to CycloneSpin. He jukes as well, immediately sends some damage out. You'll see DaGarz.
You see that poke? That was enormous amount of damage coming out from that Nemesis too.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's doing at this point. He has, I guess, about 55 damage, or 75 damage, including the Bluestone, plus the Bluestone passive itself. So, I mean, the scaling is going to be pretty high. Remember, if you get caught in the very center of the slice and dice, it winds up doing double damage than it normally would, which is very powerful.
Top damage, you can see CycloneSpin sitting up there, along with Allied having a big part in that fight. And in that last engagement, I think you saw the weakness of Team Solo Mid's new solo laner. CycloneSpin was able to rotate to that fight and make a big play, and then bchm came in, but it was already a wash, and Envy took first blood, and while the kills were traded out, that 500 gold bounty goes the way of Envy, giving him a slight lead off of it.
So bchm is choosing to go here into what looks like Breastplate of Valor. Now, I don't see Cyclone caring about this. I don't see him thinking, oh man, this is going to stop me from fighting the Sobek, right? I mean, it's kind of like, I wasn't going to fight you anyway. I have no intention. I'm just going to farm.
What I'm really interested about, though, is he actually went cooldown boots. And when we see Sobek's played in the soul lane, we almost always see penetration boots. And just the 25% cooldown reduction from the breastplate is typical. And that seems to be enough for most Sobek players. But bchm slowing down his damage, and I honestly think the push in the lane, I really think you need those pin boots online to give yourself better control of the minions.
I think what's happening here with the cooldown boots is with the extra mana, right, that was put onto focus. Uh-oh. And Breastplate of Valor not going to do a ton here with true damage and reduction coming out, but it's Eonic's ultimate that winds up deterring the right side. Both ultimates have been used for Envy, but Incon is here. Cataclysm is available.
And it looks like Envy wants to fight this. I don't think they know that he's in the corner there. Cataclysm's not going to secure and lock down bchm, but they're going to turn on Eonic dash. It's charged up, and Eonic not even needing to use it there. No more rotations coming from either team, and that's just going to be a wash, but a wasted Cataclysm coming out from Envy.
Did you notice, though, at the end, CycloneSpin walks back into the Lurking in the Waters, and it just kind of gestures that he's just going to shield it if he pops it. Like, so smart.
It's a really small frame. You actually do. You can actually see the Sobek, come up from the water before the damage connects, and you can time the shield, but it's an incredibly small window there.
Right, but the mechanically sound CycloneSpin probably wouldn't have...
Most likely.
I would say about 60 to 70% chance of getting it done correctly.
And at this point, actually, I think popping it early would actually be to the benefit of CycloneSpin. I think the heal and damage reduction would be enough.
Yeah.
Probably just heal up off it. Be like, please pop it.
I thought he was going to go for it. And you even noticed that bchm, as soon as Cyclone walked into it, bchm started running away. He's like, this isn't even worth my time. Because, I mean, honestly, even if he hit it, right, what was going to happen?
I think he's just safer underwater for the most part. I mean, with Sobek's recent buffs, and we actually did forget to mention that.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Yeah, so Sobek now, his abilities not only cost less mana, but
significantly
lurking
less.
in the waters. Sobek's gaining 30% extra protections, which means when he's down there, it is so hard to kill him and lock him down. But at the same time, this Nemesis pick is actually going to be stealing away more protections from him in that regard.
So, I mean, it's not even 30%, it's 30 protections, which in the end game probably won't be an amazing run, but for now, when he doesn't have a lot of protections already, like, that's a really good spot to be in.
No one really has Pen online yet. You can see the Jotuns come out, so it is going to be incredibly protective and really slow down the gank potential. And, he's already taken 2 trips over to the soul lane, and both times bchm has escaped.
I wonder if CycloneSpin is going to be using Divine Judgment in response to Lurking in the Waters. And what I mean by this is kind of similarly to when you pick Ares and someone picks Nemesis. You don't pop your bolster defenses until after you've been ulted, just so you can gain a flat amount back. Now, if bchm decides he's going to use his ult and then Cyclone ults him, that's going to be the biggest gain for CycloneSpin
Look at this
overall.
rotation from CycloneSpin. This is a fight Envy wants to take bchm. He's on the map, and you can actually see with Taunt wasted, but it looks like Team Solo Mid sitting under tower. Envy don't really want to risk diving it. This is the experience of CycloneSpin versus the inexperience of bchm. If Team Solo Mid were a little bit more pushed up, I think you would have saw Envy dive there.
TSM right now still slightly behind us. So only about 200 gold as they go in. Kraken's going to be good. This time, no! Suddenly, Kiki able to dash out, locks 2. Garz going to the sky, but that's going to be a 2-person drop so far.
Garz comes down, but it's just not in time. The fight had already finished. Rotation coming in from bchm. He's actually going to get a nice block on Weekend. And Snoopy going to hit the slow on 2. bchm finishes that off with Tail Whip, and that's going to be a 1-for-1. What looked like a clean pick for Envy, but here comes the rotation from Allied. CycloneSpin going to be ulting bchm, but Lurking in the Water is going to keep him alive, and Eonic teleporting back in after taking a trip back to base. And Team Solo Mid, they're the aggressors now in this mid lane.
As they should be, right? This is where Poseidon's going to be doing the best. Level 13, right? This is where he really shines. And you put that with the Athena, put that with the Thor. I mean, this was perfect. The issue, perhaps maybe a little bit too much commitment to just the Kraken, right? They try to set it up so hard and immediately Kiki got out of there. But once that washed out and AFK reinitiated, or rather MD reinitiated, it was just all TSM at that point.
Team Solo Mid, I think, are realizing that they aren't going to be able to pressure this mid tower, especially with Weekend coming back into mid, and they're just going to back off, secure the right camps, and but look at this. The entire time they were trying to push mid-wave. Apollo was split pushing, and Allied, he's going to be able to get that tower. He has no ultimate, though, and you can see a rotation coming in from Snoopy and Eonic, but right behind them is Incon and Weekend. This is a 3v2 in favor of Envy.
Oh, okay, Weekend does hit the second one. Trying to get out of there. Eonic going to be stunned out. Going to be Shockwave, taking a lot of damage. Forces out a teleport rotation from bchm to try to keep them safe. Very surprised that Snoopy got out of that one alive. And it's now going to be free experience in the right lane for Cyclone.
That teleport rotation, like you said, being a big part in this, and CycloneSpin, it looks like he's going to put pressure on this tower. I mean, no one from Team Solo Mid has even responded. I don't think it's going to be a taken tower, but it's going to get at least under half. Team Solo Mid, they were gesturing around that Gold Fury. They almost might have been able to sneak it. You could actually see no ward vision from Envy anywhere close. Actually, no, they do have the choke point. Yeah, they do have the small choke point there.
So we actually don't get a lot of damage off on the tower on the right side, but what we do get, we see one full wave into the tower plus another 4 minions lost. So bchm losing 10 creeps for that rotation at this stage of the game probably won't hurt him too much, considering the fact that, you know, he's Sobek, doesn't rely a ton on experience and gold to be relevant. But at this point, given the fact that he is a solo laner, it's a little more prevalent than it would be if he was support. You'll notice he's trying to go into what looks like an ethereal staff.
Yes, I believe so. And once he gets that online, Sobek's pretty much tanky enough, and he has enough sustain in his kit that he can do what he does in fights, which is really disrupt and do a significant amount of damage with just his base abilities. He doesn't really need heavy magic power, and that's why you do see a lot of cooldown and defenses built on these solo Becks. It's more about controlling the fights and playing a multitude of roles, either locking down an enemy carry or protecting your own.
Trying for this again, Eonic.
They're looking for Incon repeatedly, it seems like. But, I mean, TheBoosh, after having such a phenomenal game against COG, a ton of mechanically sound and phenomenal plays against them, we've seen 2 Krakens that had no stun and no whirlpool on them. And both times, I mean, Weekend and Incon just kind of walked out of it.
Again, Eonic dashing in. No one even close to taunt range that time as Weekend backs off.
Incon rolling into the wall. He still has Blink 1 available. And it looks like he wants to fight, but I don't think Team Envy really have this kind of blow-up comp. I think they're better suited with this counter-engage style that they've done so far. Really, Kiki hitting a lot of big ultimates, locking in so many players with that Pillar of Agony. You can already see a lot of beads itemized into to get out of it for the next time it comes through.
Kiki picking up the red buff. Purple already down. Gold Fury has been very quiet. 16 minutes in, not even an attempt at the bird.
Envy is giving a lot of respect to Team Solo Mid. Snoopy going to use Dark Knights just to escape, and you can actually see with Eonic Assault charging, Allied going to immune the stun, and I think just get out of there with his ultimate. Yeah, but Team Solo Mid, they're going to take this and look at Gold Fury.
Right, that was 2 ults. That's really bad for them right now. This is a situation in which Envy could be in a lot of trouble. You know, Kraken to secure on the Gold Fury. Incon needs to find a perfect initiation, but for some reason TSM is leashing.
This is really good for Envy because CycloneSpin, he wasn't in position to fight, and now he's rotating in. And Kiki actually going to be locking in Eonic. The Kraken, it's being held for so long, and Boosh just not in position to utilize it. Eonic hitting so low.
DaGarz should have a kill onto Kiki. No, bchm actually finds the kill. DaGarz takes his, takes himself to the back line, trying to find Allied. bchm rotates in, still taking decent damage from Apollo here, perhaps underestimating the Hunter.
That wall from DaGarz was perfect, but it looks like Envy, even though they're the only one to lose a player, you can see TheBoosh sitting on red life. Eonic and Snoopy forced out as well. It's going to be on DaGarz and bchm to contest this Gold Fury 2v3, and I think Envy realized that this is not as free as they expect it to be.
I don't know. I don't see them getting in on
Eonic's
Incon.
here too now.
Oh, yeah,
this
I don't know.
If
Allied didn't reset that twice, there was a fair chance they were going to steal that. Berserker's doing a decent amount of damage, but CycloneSpin seems undeterred.
Yeah, the rotation from Weekend coming back in. DaGarz, he's forced back. bchm, he has no dash, and Snoopy going to pick up Weekend, who went a little bit too hard. Incon wasn't in you know, an area to try and help him. Allied now forced out as well, and Team Solo Mid, they're, you know, winning these small skirmishes by 1 or 2 kills each time.
Can we check on Kiki? Is he going to get there in time? Does he have his ultimate available? They're trying to jump in. Ult's not up for 20. It's all about the Gold Fury here, and it's going to be taken, it looks like, by Team Envy?
Yeah, Envy, they were actually able to steal that, and Incon, he's going to be locked down, but I think it was Incon who managed to walk away with that, and Envy, that looked like a fight that they were going to lose cleanly. Instead, they walk away with the Gold Fury and only lose Incon for it. But you can see Kiki, Allied, they're being pressured. Allied's having none of it. He sees that rotation. He's going to ult away.
He goes to the back camps.
But there's no wave. There's no wave for Team Solo Mid, so they're not going to be able to take this tower. They just walk away with a single kill and a buff.
I love this. Allied goes to back camps. He's like, you guys could have that purple buff. Like, enjoy. It's all for you.
Gonna go to mid as well. You can see DaGarz was split pushing in the meantime. And Team Solo Mid, Boosh could be in trouble here. He doesn't have beads or Aegis, nowhere for him to go. Allied secures that kill.
Boosh getting out of position there. That's definitely going to hurt. Weaken, oh my god, he's actually going to chase him. He'll pick up both of the Harpies. The Deathbane getting one, auto attacks getting the second. And even though DaGarz was almost able to pick that up, very smart idea for him to use the Berserker Barrage there. It doesn't pan out. TSM, 2 major fights go in their favor, and then suddenly they lose the Gold Fury. They drop Boosh in mid in favor of Incon, and at the end of the day, you're going to find yourselves about 2,200 gold down as Envy finds the first real lead of the game.
Can we actually take a look at player damage real quick? I kind of want to see where Poseidon's sitting at 5,700. So Boosh sitting in the middle of the pack, but it just seems that his Krakens have not been on point, and I think that's what's allowing Envy to stay in this game, because for the most part, Team Solo Mid has been controlling teamfights very well, getting, even if they don't get the first kill, they're able to get a lot of return kills, and that's without Krakens connecting and locking players down. I think if TheBoosh can really turn his game around and start finding better Krakens or better synergy with the team more than anything, we could start to see Team Solo Mid close the lead, I'd say. I mean, they're down in gold, but I feel like they're controlling the momentum and pace of the game.
Weaken going back to the back Harpies once again. The farm is getting better, and honestly, DaGarz still has a small lead, but as the game goes longer and longer, Serqet is going to become more and more dangerous. You'll notice going into that crit now. The first Mail of Renewal, it seems, getting started on the side of DaGarz. Still, after the nerf, probably the best item in the game.
Mail of Renewal is so strong when you either get a kill or your team gets a kill, and you start healing up that 15% life and mana. It's not necessarily strong when you get a kill. I mean, it's powerful, right? You're going to be healing up slowly throughout the fight. It's when you get multiple procs back to back and you go from 10, 15, 20%.
It's a great item for DaGarz, right? For a character who's going to be in the front line. A character like Thor who wants defense in that third item slot, right? You go in, you use your whole kit, and then you take a bunch of damage trying to get out. And if you do kill someone or your team follows up, you get to heal for free. On top of the fact that it couples perfectly with Jotuns, making sure you go right up to the 40% CDR cap, gives you health, gives you defense, just the all-in-one package.
Team Solo Mid, once again, sitting here in this mid lane with the core 3 they've been for most of the game, and it's really been Eonic dashing in and looking for these taunts, and I think you can see the glow around him. That's when you know Eonic, he's looking to fight, but with Boosh backing off and DaGarz rotating as well, I think they might be trying to bait here, because they control, I believe that's a sentry ward that just fell there, so they know that enemy has no vision.
Nope,
don't
not
do
enemy,
it.
Envy. Now you owe everyone.
No,
yes,
I don't owe
Adonis
anyone gems.
owes you gems.
I was so mad. I was like, all right, I'm going to get this every single time.
Tweet at hi-rez Adonis, 200 gems to a random winner.
No.
Congrats, Adonis. Nice job, man.
I'll ask F-Dot for a gem code or someone. I'm going to get so many tweets. Please don't.
What a day.
Taunt coming in on Kiki, and now they're trying to lock him down. There's that powerful Geb shield, though, and Weaken actually jumps in. It looks like he's trying to lock down the Boosh, but that Darkest of Nights, once again, going to dissuade Envy from forcing that fight. Snoopy was also rotating over while Allied split pushes, and this is the power of Apollo. You can have Snoopy rotate. Snoopy's almost forced to rotate because he knows that Allied, he can just use that ultimate across the skies to take himself from that left wing.
He can just walk in the jungle and stay there for 6 seconds, and then Snoopy's like, I'm going to have to rotate. And then you just bait him, start split pushing.
My phone is blowing up, I'm pretty sure, right now. I can feel the vibration in my pocket. Oh, man. Mid lane, though. Team Solo Mid sitting under tower, the Boosh. He's going really this... he's going an interesting build that we typically don't see, and it's a very slow damage. It takes a little bit longer to get online. Incon, though, blinking in. It looks like they're looking for Eonic. Weaken trying to play Peel, tossing out the taunt onto the Boosh into DaGarz, but Eonic hitting the nice taunt once again, though. Not comboing it properly, and 2 players just walk out of it, and there's Kiki dashing in deep. Looks like he's trying to turn the fight, but he's so low.
There's no way he's going to get anything out of this one except for a trip back to the base. Yeah, Eonic picking that one up with the preemptive strike. Weaken not in a good spot as well. Cyclone finally rotates here. Can they find anything with Allied?
bchm has no dash. DaGarz taking to the air, though. Envy realized this, and it looks like they're just going to be backing off. I don't think DaGarz is going to be landing down, but that fantastic wall, Whirlpool as well. They're locking Incon in. Fantastic pluck from bchm. Snoopy finds the kill. Eonic so low, but Allied can't secure it. And once again, Team Solo Mid walk away with 2 free kills. Envy can't fight into it.
You know, it's kind of like, even with Serqet, they don't have a true assassin, because Serqet is not a character that at this stage of the game is going to go to Sobek and say, you're dead, right? She could maybe get Snoopy for a decent amount of... Was that shield the under... Oh, that was... Oh, no, okay, that was Retribution.
That was Retribution shield.
I thought Snoopy had shielded the underworld.
That would be disgusting.
Yes, it would have been.
That would be such a bad active.
No, I like it.
On a hunter?
Yeah,
dude. You don't have the health pool.
It doesn't matter, because then other hunters can't box you because you don't get lifesteal.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's actually
That's
like...
OP.
It goes from awful to OP.
Team Solo Mid, though, starting up Gold Fury. You can see Envy, they're rotating in. Gold Fury, it's not being taken very fast. I think Team Solo Mid are trying to bait a fight.
Oh,
yeah, they
and they're going to bait well. Allied in a lot of trouble here. Mesmerize comes out, he's dashing, and they're trying to... So, Cyclone gets
nice
that 3-man slow.
Yeah, I mean, you could see most of their abilities were expended, but DaGarz, it looks like he's trying to lock down someone. It's Allied on the tower, he finds it! DaGarz sniping and bringing back reminiscent memories.
That's the Kraken we were looking for, too. Kiki has been super crippled here, flung back and destroyed. As you see, Weekend falling as well, a 3-for-0 in favor of TSM as they turn their sights possibly to the Fire Giants.
They are definitely looking at the Fire Giant. Only 2 members alive. It's CycloneSpin and Incon. However, Incon, he was able to steal away a Gold Fury, and that actually might be a detriment to it because Team Solo Mid are going to be that much more aware to lock him down if he rotates in looking for it. You can see CycloneSpin and Incon, they're going in at different paths. They're trying to cut someone off and surprise TSM. Taunt coming out, Incon taking a lot of poke. CycloneSpin, he's just looking for kills, but look at all the peel on the team.
Yeah, they're not committing to the Fire Giant hard enough. Dash through, Incon, Cataclysm, Shockwave for the kill. Boosh goes down. Fire Giant almost completely reset, and Incon might be able to get away. Where's the Mjolnirs? That's going to be a 1-for-1.
CycloneSpin, he's still alive, but he has no health, and he's not going to be able to get into this one. Allied's in the air, though. He's going to look for the steal. They're not doing it fast enough. CycloneSpin, he's dashed in, and Allied comes landing down. He's looking for someone. CycloneSpin falls to bchm. That Fire Giant, it's doing so much damage to the team. They're taking so long that Weekend's even rotated back in off of death. Fire Giant, it goes to Team Solo Mid. They lose Snoopy. Allied falls in return as well. But I think, yeah, that's going to be a win for Team Solo Mid, but it got super risky.
Oh, man, that was very close. Envy almost stealing that away. You'll notice that Serqet went for the kill instead of Fire Giant. I think if she committed the Deathbane to the Fire Giant, it would have resulted in a steal. However, I don't know if afterwards they would have had the kill or if Weekend would have been able to get out.
Most likely not. I think the thought process for Weekend in that fight was it's just a risk looking to steal the Fire Giant.
Right.
I feel safer trying to get a single kill or two. So even if they are able to secure it, we make sure that it's on a limited number of players. But Team Solo Mid looking so strong. You know, honestly, bchm almost threw that fight straight up. I mean, he actually... So the team did a fantastic job of peeling for the boosh in that engagement, but then bchm actually throws CycloneSpin into the boosh.
Right.
And he's able to get him low enough that once Incon hits that Cataclysm knockup, they're able to kill it. And bchm, he really needs to be a little bit more aware of his plucks and where he's throwing people instead of just throwing him out there. But Team Solo Mid right now in lead of the game, or in control of the game with a 1,000 gold lead and the Fire Giant buff.
I think the Mail of Renewal did very well there, right? I mean, for how long?
Oh, fantastic.
Like, I just... Look at that build, too. Like, this is the dream build for Thor. It's a ton of defense, a ton of penetration. Like, the guy is just super strong right now. And if he gets one kill, like, God forbid, I mean, that fight is over. Gold Fury going down again. Envy really starting to bleed here, as you'll notice a good chunk, 1750, going into the wallets for TSM, and their lead extends to 3,600.
Allied might get a little bit cut off here, especially if bchm can find the book. That Mez timing was... near, if not perfect. Allied, even if he got plucked, he had beads, but having no beads against a Fire Giant push is not something you want as a hunter. So perfectly timed Mez there. Team Solo Mid, they want to take this tower, but Envy, they're not going to give it to him for free.
Kiki's got to try to find a safe way to get to the front line without getting CC'd so he can get his ult off. In the jungle, we have a skirmish going off, and they're going to commit to Snoopy, it seems. Oh, but Cyclone gets shut down. Perfect Whirlpool coming out from Boosh.
Poseidon Kraken comes through, not doing enough damage. Beats were forced. Kiki, he's ulting, but he's stuck in place. This is the weakness of Hades. He's locked down. So many members on Team Solo mid low. Snoopy able to find Weaken. Look at these huge crits coming through from Allied, but it's not enough damage. His team, he's already lost 2 members. GaRz, he held his ult and he's going to come crashing down, taking out Allied for the 2nd time this game. And Team Solo mid, they're pushing into the 2nd tier tower still, and likely the Phoenix afterwards.
So bchm and GaRz, neither of which have deaths yet. Both zeros in that determination column, 4-0-10, 5-0-8, sharing the same KDA as well as they're rushing into the left side. Phoenix, the first huge objective to defend this base is going to fall. Shockwave doing damage, Cyclone trying to fight, but Nemesis, I mean, how is she going to fight into this team comp here?
It's so hard, and she's going to try. She's going to look to lock down Snoopy, but look at that. I mean, like you said, it's so hard for her to dive into it. You could see Team Solo mid, they're really combining around their hyper carry and Snoopy, and then they have so much control with the rest of the gods. Most notably, bchm and GaRz. They're able to, not only throw out walls, but knockups and plucks and slows. They have so much utility to keep Snoopy alive that CycloneSpin isn't able to dive into the back line. That's twice now where we saw him ult, and immediately bchm goes on him, disrupts him, and there's nothing he could do about it.
Well, a big part of that is the fact that Retribution, the shield that Nemesis activates, is completely removed with any form of hard CC, so he gets flung into the backline. Talking about CycloneSpin, he starts taking damage, he activates the shield, and as soon as it comes up, bchm throws out the tail whip, removes that effective health and healing, and just allows the team to destroy.
They also have Taunt for that as well, and Tectonic Rift coming up from Thor. They have so many options to deal with Weaken and CycloneSpin. Both these players have picked these hyper carry assassins that are really strong at diving enemy carries. However, the control coming out from Team Solo mid and the peel they have in their team comp is not allowing them to make use of these gods. They have 2 gods that are entirely dependent on diving backline carries, and they can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, even with the help of the Geb Shield and the Hades trying to lock down the front line, it's been unsuccessful so far. At this point, TSM has to make mistakes for Envy to win. They can no longer just fight into this and, play their best and hope for the best. Because Hades is dying way too quickly, CycloneSpin is dying way too quickly, Weaken is dying way too quickly. And then Allied maybe not dying as quickly, but then GaRz comes out of nowhere with ult and kills.
There's so many members dead by the time that Allied gets to these fights, and he doesn't have a lot of peel on his team. You could see, I mean, Hades, he's more about being a frontline bruiser than peeling for his team. It's really Incon who has that Geb shield, and he's more focused on keeping CycloneSpin and Weaken alive in these fights. Allied caught out in his own jungle. There's no way he gets away from this one.
Jumping away, Weaken. They used a lot onto Eonic, and it's Athena who's pretty far ahead at this point, has a ton of defense, especially with that Mail of Renewal. She seems undeterred so far, and that Whirlpool completely cutting the path off. There's no way for Kiki to get out of this one, and they're a sitting duck. Allied ages through the Kraken. Kiki trying to get away, dives into the backline. Boosh will actually fall, but it's going to be a 1-for-1 trade as the Hunter on Envy dies as well.
Incon's here as well. So you can see CycloneSpin sitting in the mid, and I think, Envy are giving up on Kiki. They're letting him die. They recognize that if they commit too much to try and save him, that all their team will die. It's a rough decision to make to just give up on your teammate, but that's what had to happen.
Sometimes you got to sack. It has to happen.
Oh, he caught the dash. CycloneSpin forced to beads, but a fantastic wall from GaRz going to be locking him in, and CycloneSpin stealing away protections.
Wait, here comes Weaken. Cobra's Kiss, Deathbane does almost no damage, and that was on Snoopy, who has only point of defense is some health on Soul Eater. I mean, at this point, I don't see Incon getting away as well. He's flung back. Cataclysm's going to go off. Rollout's going to go through, but not before Snoopy catches and burns him down.
Envy is dying one at a time. It's really not like the team is just kind of getting blown up all together, like in a Kraken or anything. It's just like one at a time. They're going in, they're falling. Incon there, trying to defend the tower. A clear mistake against 4 players. I mean, maybe he was trying to keep CycloneSpin alive, but he would have been better served, I think, defending that Phoenix. Once again, Eonic finding a fantastic taunt. CycloneSpin, though, gonna try and be locked it down, but he seems a little bit too tanky for the team to do so.
Cyclone needs to find a way back in. Instead, he's gonna turn his sights to the creeps, trying to defend the base as well as he can. Lurking in the waters, Darkest of Nights both going off. They're gonna commit to Kiki once again, who falls almost instantaneously as the fight begins. Ally trying to dash away. They're committing super hard. Actually, TSM might be in some trouble here.
bchm, he still escapes with his life. We could see multiple players, super slow. Allied standing tall.
Oh, Allied!
Fight! He's going to be trying to turn on to Kiki, or excuse me, onto Eonic, but it's going to be Weaken who's going to commit real hard to him. Incon secures that kill. And Envy successfully defending their base against the assault from Team Solo Mid.
That's not only a 3-for-1, but they still have potential here for another kill. Here comes the Whirlpool. Kraken going to go off Ally, taking a lot of damage, but they can follow back up. Both ults are going to be used here for TSM with the Fire Giant available. Envy has turnaround potential.
DaGarz actually going to be landing on Incon. He's just trying to delay Envy, and I love this play from him. They're going to actually try and lock him down, but Weekend stuck in that Whirlpool. Geb Shield going to immune a lot of that damage, but they're wasting so much time. Envy, that is, trying to fight Boosh and DaGarz that it's going to be so hard to secure the Fire Giant. You can see Allied, Weekend, and Incon all almost near half-life.
DaGarz in trouble here. And yeah, DaGarz will go down. Poison, however, does not spread to the Boosh. Fire Giant resets completely.
bchm has teleport. bchm has teleport. He's spawning
there's no wards.
Just now. Yeah, Boosh, he never buys wards. If Boosh had wards in his inventory, he might be able to turn it around, but it's actually going to be Boosh picked off. bchm teleports to the tower. Fire Giant under half. 1 versus 4. He's going to have to try and get this one, but it looks like Envy are giving it up.
Neither of the Guardian ults are going to connect as Incon able to roll out Fire Giant, however, does not get taken by Envy. Small signs of life being breathed in. As you see, Envy is trying to reduce some of that gold lead. Still 8K down.
Team Solo Mid in full control of this one, but Envy doing their best job to fight back. Kiki's been split pushing and getting actually a significant amount of farm from this. With how much pressure and control Team Solo Mid has had, and 35 minutes into the game, you almost would have expected them to be further ahead, but you know, this farm,
wow.
And look at that. I mean, Team Solo Mid, any late game mistake now could be a loss, means a loss for either team, and Weekend alone, walking up to that Fire Giant, scared them off of it.
I think the big thing in that fight was the fact that the mid-tier 1 tower and the right tier 1 tower were both still alive, which means even without wards on the side of TSM, bchm still had somewhere relevant to teleport to, and that's how he got into the fight. He brought Eonic, he forced the wash. EnVyUs doesn't really get a ton out of that. They show that they're still willing to fight. They keep their Phoenix, or at least their third Phoenix, from going down. Their right side tier 1 or tier 2 as well. But there are 2 waves of fire minions now still being burned down, and we need to see TSM using those fire minion waves to force the split push to make sure they can get FG and win the game.
It's so hard for them to split push, though, against Allied, who has that global ultimate. Team Solo Mid starting up Fire Giant here. It has taken a lot of damage, and it looks like they don't want to fully commit to it. You can only see Snoopy really committing to it and attacking it, and bchm, DaGarz trying to play peel, but look at this. Envy's coming from 3 different directions. Team Solo Mid is so scared to lose this one. It's already under 3,000, and now they're going in.
Looks like the Fire Giant's going to be taken. It will go to TSM. Kiki trying to get some damage off. It's unlikely he's going to see the end of this fight from his own camera, but in the backline, CycloneSpin finds 1, CycloneSpin finds 2, and Ally joins the fight. They're trying to burn more down. Kiki actually doing a ton of damage. Good sustain as well. DaGarz forced to jump away. There's still 2 sets of fire minions burning into the base.
That wall was fantastic, and you can see Envy, they recognize the fire minions. Team Solo Mid recognize it too. They're trying to stop all their backs because honestly, if they can, the minions will win this game for them. Envy, they still haven't back. bchm is stopping 3. Over on the side, DaGarz locking down Incon, and there it goes. The mid Phoenix is going to fall, and Envy recognizing that they're not going to be allowed to back. They're simply walking to their own base.
That Phoenix died very, very quickly, and very smart of bchm to not let Kiki back. Kiki would have had a successful defense.
Are they going to dive into this 3v5?
I don't think that Weekend can hold this. I don't think that
honestly, you could take a look. They locked down Incon. We could actually see TSM elect to dive really deep into this.
They need Boosh and Snoopy. They need Boosh and Snoopy. They can't do this without them. There's no way.
I don't know. They have 3 ultimates that do a significant amount of base damage, but it looks like Envy not going to allow them to do so. DaGarz getting forced out. 1 more hit. We can find
Poison
that
spread.
kill. Kiki locking 2 members in place. He will fall, but maybe Ally can find a return kill. Shield of the Underworld, keeping bchm alive. You saw Allied wasn't able to auto-attack into him for too long. Look at this. bchm, he's so slow. Cyclone's trying to chase him down. The heal, though, going to keep him alive, and the heal for Fire Giant going to keep him alive, and CycloneSpin going to have to back off there.
He might not be able to. Retribution doing a decent amount there. Another slow coming out from Eonic. Smart of CycloneSpin to hold his dash until after he's hit with it. Left side, Phoenix does respawn, almost full health at this point, as Weekend and Allied are going to try to hold it down against 4.
Beads forced out of Allied from that taunt Whirlpool combination. bchm finds Weekend out of the death bane. Weekend forced to Beads. Kraken is used in response. Team Solo Mid, they're trying to secure this Phoenix on the left-hand side. Allied, he has no Beads. Still managed to walk out. Snoopy takes him out with the dot. Incon responds, locking down Boosh.
Left side Phoenix will fall again. Titan still not able to regen at all.
The shield, not enough.
I think this is it. This is looking like TSM's win here.
You can see Incon, Weekend, they're the only two alive. Kiki just spawning fire minions, pouring in 2 waves. There's no way they're going to be able to defend this Titan. It's so low. All TSM have to do is full commit to this fight.
They're for some reason chasing kills here. Weekend able to jump out once again. Kiki doing decent damage. Incon trying to just fight the creeps at this point. He's circling the drain, trying to find a way in and a way out at the same time. But the Titan, 6,000 health right now, could be in trouble.
5,000 health for it. Weekend and Incon, though, comboing for a nice fight. DaGarz, he's full committing, it looks like. They're so tanky. Incon, he's not falling at all. This Order tight. It's actually been reset twice. It's healed back up to 7,000. Team Solo mid, they're so tanky, and that could be the win for them. Their team is so tanky. Flicking the water, going to be enough damage, securing it, and Team Solo mid come out after recent roster swaps, players coming back in and upset the top team in North America, Envy, during game 1.
bchm looking incredible that game.
Yeah, I said one mistake he had, and that was at that Fire Giant fight, throwing CycloneSpin into the boosh. Outside of that, he played phenomenally.
I mean, I think a big thing happens to be the Nemesis going into the Sobek, right? He tries to go into this counter pick. It doesn't work at all. Nemesis was barely able to do almost anything throughout the entire game comparatively to the Sobek. I mean, what was it, like 8-1-17 or something?
I think he died once at the end there. He had an absurd amount of assist.
6-1-17.
Yeah, bchm played phenomenally. And really, I think it was the team comp that Team Solo Mid drafted. You saw, I almost feel like that first pick Sobek was good for Team Solo Mid, because CycloneSpin likes the direct matchup. But they had already locked in Serqet on Envy's side, and then they had these 2 assassins, hyper carry assassins, that like to dive and lock down backline carries. And then all Team Solo Mid did was draft a Xbalanque for a late game hunter, and then a ton of gods that could protect their carries, that could protect him and then tank up. And you could see multiple times CycloneSpin would ult boosh or ult Garz, and bchm would just like, tail whip, you're done. What are you doing? Trying to get to my back line.
And what's crazy is they focus so much on Sobek. Like, when was it ever discussed that we shouldn't be camping Snoopy? Right? Like, Snoopy has always been like the key to success on TSM.
It's so hard to camp him, though. He has Darkest of Nights. He also has Eonic ult. There's so many options to keep him alive. Garz as well could have rotated.
But it was Allied, right? Who started the game off well. We'll take a look at First Blood here as you can hear the whistle go off. Allied going right into the air. He's going to dive right into the back line. Super aggressive.
Yeah, this was the combo that worked well for Envy early on. It was Kiki holding that ultimate until Boosh used Kraken, diving into the back line, locking down multiple players, and then Allied kind of crashing in. We saw it work there, and I think one more time in the early game. But after that, every time Kiki ulted, no one on Envy could really get into the fight at all. And he kind of just got blown up. He's locked in place. He had nothing to do.
I think a lot of that came down to the insane amount of peel on TSM's comp, protecting Snoopy. With that, bchm earns player of the game, not only putting down a ridiculous amount of peel, but a 6-1-17 score to back it up.
17 assists. How many, do you recall how many kills were in this game in total?
I'm unsure.
I mean, the 2 mistakes he had was the late rotation on the first fight, and then plucking someone in. And after that, really, bchm not missing any plucks outside of, I believe, 1 or 2 this fight, showing how strong he is on this god and really able to properly and effectively peel for his team.